There you are. I got muted. You should be able to talk.
I realized that my name was changed, and I was like, he probably doesn't recognize it because it cuts off where it says Mark Monkey. But hey, how's it
So
going,
what do you
man?
want to talk about? We're done. You're the last call of the day. So
Hey.
if you didn't get your chance today, I'm sure we'll do more call-in shows because it was very fun. More more tier 3 subs. We may open it up to tier 2s as well. So upgrade your sub to tier 2, and you'll be considered. The tier 3s first. All right. What did you want to talk about?
I want to kind of talk about why I think Bernie lost Michigan.
Okay. And you want to talk about Michigan?
Yep, I've had a week to think about it, and I'm here.
I mean, I think it's relatively straightforward. So go ahead and give me your account of.
So I went to the Flint rally. He did the round table, which was great. Like, it was a great event.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see Cornel West speak, got to see Nina Turner, got to see him, got to see a number of people, great activists. And I started looking around the crowd, and I noticed a huge problem.
What's that?
Flint is about 68% black.
Mm-hmm.
The ratio in that gymnasium was not anywhere near that.
Mm-hmm.
So the things you got to win in order to win Michigan, you got to do Flint to get Genesee County. You got to do Detroit in order to get Macomb County. You have to get the west side of the state, and you have to get Lansing. Like, the rest of it, it's going to go Republican anyways, because those are, that's the boonies. So, he didn't win Flint because black people didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
And the same can be said about every other city. Like Detroit, definitely. He should have at least won Detroit, and he didn't.
Yeah.
So, it boils down to he just didn't get the black vote. I think that's the biggest reason that tipped it out of his favor. It's a bummer.
Yeah, he didn't get the black vote.
Yeah. Nobody really shows up in Flint, but like older black people do vote here.
So ultimately, why didn't he get the black?
That's a
I know
great
you
question.
can describe the problem, but why did Bernie Sanders not get the black vote?
If my big guess on it would be because he wasn't vice president to Obama, and that's all people seem to pay attention to.
I think that certainly. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that framing.
I don't either.
I think the frame that we've got is very simply right, and that is.
No, he
Joe
didn't win
Biden
Dearborn.
Was simply perceived as being more electable, and therefore the best chance to beat Trump and get the Republicans out of power. Period.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, I mean that's also part of it. Like, the media narrative definitely set it up to kind of pump this story into everybody that while he's the most electable, and no one is even questioning what that even means. Electable just means people will vote for you.
Yes.
So if you show up and vote for him, he's electable. It's just absolutely insane.
It's circular logic.
Yeah. What are you eating?
I got myself some crunchy fries. I'm sorry if they're crunching.
No, that's fine. I was just curious. Nice.
Let me just say, it's a mukbang stream now. What made him seem a more electable? The mainstream media apparatus, connected to the organs of the institutional Democratic Party, coordinated stories reinforcing that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That is it.
So what What do you think? What do you think we got out of last night? Obviously, it's probably not going to be enough to change the results.
Nothing, maybe 1%, maybe 5 at the outside. I mean, like, ultimately,
we got a lot of clips.
Bernie never said the things that you need to say to get attention. He never used the words, Joe Biden is a liar, or Joe Biden is lying to you right now. He never said what Joe Biden was doing. He let Joe Biden get away with it.
I mean, you know that I mean, he didn't let him get away with it, but it's an unspoken thing where for the respectability, you don't call people a liar, even if they're lying. Except for apparently Donald Trump.
I disagree. I think that's part of the problem is that for years the media wouldn't say Donald Trump is lying. They would say Donald Trump misleads, knowingly misleads. And now we've gotten to a point where even Democratic politicians are realizing I can lie.
Yeah.
Did any moderator step in and say, well, Joe Biden, on this day you said this to cut Social Security, on this day you said this to say Social Security.
And the thing that
you organized the Simpson-Bowles Commission, it was then after the Simpson-Bowles Commission failed, they set up a follow-up called the Biden Commission with your chief of staff, where they discussed Social Security cuts. What do you mean? You're a liar, but no one called him out on it. Well,
actually,
people did call him out on it. Ryan Grimm did on Twitter.
Actually, just found a video that let me post it in chat. I'm gonna.
What do you think airlines should spend free cash flow on? They should build reserves. They should invest in capital improvements. They should expand operations. They should increase employee pay and benefits. They should pay dividends if they're going to do capital, if they're going to return capital to owners and do a capital withdrawal or an owner's withdrawal. All of those things are better than pumping up the stock price in the short term. Now they're asking for billions of dollars in bailouts because they don't have any cash reserves to weather a crisis like this.
I'm getting called out by Straszapreti.
What did I say?
So you think Bernie should not attack? I never said that. I think Bernie should have attacked, but I don't think he was going to because he's worried about getting hampered with the blame for the loss, just like he did last time.
He's 79 years old. He's going to be dead soon. They already blamed him for 2016. And
yeah, and he doesn't want that.
They're going to blame him again if they lose.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he does. He's going to be blamed because that's ideologically useful for the center and for the right wing to blame the progressive who had no power for the. So if you
I'm not saying he was right. I'm just saying I get it.
Why does he not understand that? Is my question.
I think he wants to believe that he can still get some stuff done under a Biden presidency, or he just doesn't want to have his name dragged through the mud, which it's going to anyways.
Okay, stop running for president then. If you want to help Biden, drop out and endorse Biden. Go campaign for him. You can't have it both ways.
I think he thinks if he holds up the election a little bit, he can get Biden to agree to more. I mean, Biden did move on free tuition-free college. Shit,
for people making less than $125,000, which is a law that already exists and was passed by Andrew Cuomo.
It's not federal though.
I know. What I'm saying is this is not exactly the most left-wing proposal.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it at this point. It's something. But like as far as harm reduction, Straszapreti was asking me, he is still harm reduction because, you know, while I don't think he's going to completely get rid of the child detention centers or anything like that, I think he'll highly reduce it a lot more. You know, he's not going to stop bombing in Yemen. Or maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe he will just because that passed in the Senate and the House. I mean, it got vetoed. So there's a establishment push to get out of there, it appears. So he might just end it. That doesn't mean that war with Iran is off the table, though.
But here's the thing that's holding me back from agreeing to what you're saying. and possibly considering that maybe accelerationism makes sense, is number one, there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to appoint shit. Like, we've got to win the Senate too, which, you know, I find unlikely to happen.
True.
And the second is, imagine the world where Joe Biden's running for re-election in 2024.
Well, he's not going to. He's already said he's not.
No, he hasn't. I don't know where this fucking rumor comes from. It was floated in like The Hill or something, and they came out and said that's not true. So somebody said that in The Hill when he was losing, and then when they asked him, he said, "No, I'm going to run for re-election." So even if he wins, okay, just for the sake of argument, he wins and only runs for one term. Who's running for second term? Or who's taking up the open seat that Democrats are inexplicably giving up the value of an incumbent presidency? Who's running?
Probably his vice president.
And who's that gonna be?
That's a good question.
A young neoliberal.
Yep.
Probably.
And who's going to run against them?
How many decades is are the Democrats going to be engulfed in neoliberalism if Joe Biden has the power of the presidency and is able to hand out benefices to all of his cronies around the country?
I mean, we'll have to fight, but it's a better position than having Trump in.
Is it though? Like, is it though? I mean,
hold up.
Exactly?
We got it. In this situation, I look to literally what Bernie has been saying all along. We're gonna have to fight these people, but we don't have a fighting chance to fight Trump. We end up sitting on our hands against Trump. But if we go against Joe Biden, we might win.
Would Bernie Sanders be in the same political party as Joe Biden in the same?
Of course not. They're not in the same party now.
So, well, they are, because this is the only way. Because Bernie said he was
running as
president.
So, you know what I mean.
I mean, it's like Joe Biden means that the Democratic Party is going to be even more firmly entrenched into the neoliberal side, because young, ambitious people are going to look at the Democratic Party and say, how should I build my life in order to be appealing to the Democratic Party? And they're going to go down the Pete Buttigieg path. We're going to have consultants that are centrist scumbags receiving millions of dollars. Meanwhile, progressive messaging and candidates get nothing. The DCCC, the SDCC, are all going to DSCC and the DCCC are going to triple down on even more centrist candidates, choking out more progressive candidates. But they're going to see the threat now, and they're going to be deploying their resources to gut as many progressive candidates and threats from the left as possible. And there is no left alternative party. So what I see with Joe Biden in power is a party that, one, they'll see that as vindication for centrist arguments, and progressives further driven into the wilderness and even further from power. I can't imagine Joe Biden empowering anybody on the left. Then he's going to do stuff, he will cut Social Security and Medicare. 100%. It's been one of the goals of his political career.
I mean, largely,
the Democratic Party's going to have that on their heads when they get annihilated by the Republicans.
Largely, I agree with you, but that's up to us to change. We have to show up. I was ready to fight against Hillary Clinton for 8 years.
People aren't ideal. Well, okay, Hillary Clinton was a different event.
Yeah,
well, that was
Joe Biden's worse. I know,
4
but
years ago,
he's also more dim-witted.
And there was actually a vacant Supreme Court seat, and we had a reasonable opportunity to win the Senate in 2016, but Hillary Clinton's fucking disastrous campaign lost us Wisconsin and Pennsylvania Senate seats. So, yeah, it's a different situation where we're hoping and praying we can win a Senate seat in Arizona and Iowa, for fuck's sake. Red states.
Mm-hmm.
in North Carolina, which Hillary lost.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there is no open Supreme Court seat. Now, you'll say, well, there's a bunch of old Dems that need to retire, and you're absolutely right, and they probably would if Biden won.
Yeah, RBG
and
would step down.
He won the Senate.
RBG is going to step down. So, I mean...
He can win the presidency and lose the Senate, in which case there will be filibuster.
Yeah.
For 4 years.
Well, wait. Didn't they nuke the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees?
They did. But it doesn't matter because a majority can put the rule back in. In fact, okay, no, hold on. They don't need to be filibustered. I misspoke. They won't bring them up for a vote because they'll have the majority.
Mm-hmm.
So there doesn't need to be a filibuster. If you have 51 votes, you just never bring them up. That's what they did to Merrick Garland. They didn't filibuster Merrick Garland.
Yeah, but I don't think they can do that for 4 years. Like, it's one thing doing it for a year.
Why not? They just say the Supreme Court is too big. Cut it down to 7. They'll make any argument they want. They don't believe in anything. Hypocrisy doesn't matter.
No, I agree. I agree. And if we allow them to do that, then yeah, we'll be sitting on our hands just being like, see?
Allow them
but
to do
let's
that in what sense? What do you mean?
Show up to their fucking offices. Tell them what's up.
Oh, okay.
That's what Bernie's been preaching us to do. Get fucking involved. Get out. You know, if you're a left winger in a red state, show up at their offices. Like, we weren't going to get Medicare for All with Bernie in office if we didn't show up to those offices too. Even to the neoliberals, even to the right-wingers in office. So we had to sit in there to stop it.
You have power and there's something that's about to be fought for than it is when you're out in the wilderness. As a person who's been in the wilderness before and spent days calling people, trying to get volunteers to show up to things.
Mm-hmm.
And walking into a room where you have nobody on the other side of the table, and you have no seat at the table, you're fucked.
Still stopped the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. They had to do an alternative route to get it done. You know, they're defunding it, but it still stopped at the full repeal. People showed up.
Yes, by one vote. We did it. We stopped the ACA repeal for 18 months. And then they changed it in the courts. No, I'm not saying you can't win, but that's stopping a thing, preventing a thing from being taken away is a lot easier than enacting a new thing. I'm not saying that this stuff doesn't work. I think this stuff works really well. The left is just not activated in America to show me that they can do any of this shit. I find them very doubtful that they will.
So I think you misunderstand like what I think can possibly get done. I'm not talking about any like large changes. I don't think large changes can happen under a Biden presidency. You know, I don't think that at all.
Anything significant will happen under a Biden presidency. You know that
plenty significant can happen.
That Barack Obama never raised the minimum wage in 8 years.
Yeah, fully aware of that.
This Biden is more right wing.
Yeah.
What are we getting? The public option? That was in Obama's presidential campaign. That's not happening, folks. We're not getting a public option. It's to lie.
I guess it depends on, how many people show up to actually vote against Trump. Because, I mean, if that turnout happens, it will work down ticket, too. Because people are going to vote straight line Democrat.
Well, this SDCC and the DCCC are endorsing in primaries centrist third-way Dems.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, I do think Biden will lose. I don't think Biden will beat Trump, but if he does, I think it's a way better position to be in than against Trump.
I mean,
the thing you got to realize is I'm at a deficit here.
No.
I'm at a.
After we get slaughtered in the midterms and lose the Congress horribly, then he loses re-election because he's
possibly
declining cognitively. He will lose again. He's gonna be a deficit scold. He'll probably cut Medicare and Social Security, and he'll get annihilated to such an extent I don't even know what to say.
Possibly.
Of course that's possible, but I can only, when people ask me what do you think is likely, that's what I think is likely.
But I mean, is that worse than what we have now?
It will be in 2024 when somebody who beats his ass that's a smart fascist instead of the dumb fascist we have now.
I agree. But
Like,
for those 4 years,
here's
for
what I
those
wanna
4
say,
years,
everybody.
I would much rather put it off for another 4 years, so we can
Donald
regroup
Trump
and
did
figure shit
something to
out.
the Republican Party that is not acknowledged. They are now fully a post-truth party. Before they were liars and misleaders, but they have now fully adopted the Trumpian manifesto of just lying straight up through your teeth and using your propaganda networks. We're in like deep shit, and the only way out of this is like somebody who could flip the electoral map and do bold enough changes that it impacts people's real lives, and they sit up and take notice about politics working for them.
I agree.
Joe
But-
Biden is not that.
I know. That's why.
mean,
That's
like-
why I backed
like-
Bernie Sanders proudly.
Well, right, but the problem with the vote blue, no matter who, the problem with the if we vote for Biden, I'll just promise to vote for Biden. Fine. If it makes you all feel better, I'll say I'll promise to vote for Biden in the general. But I also was someone who was strongly in Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2016, and I voted for Hillary Clinton. Didn't make a fucking difference. He lost.
Yeah.
She lost. Excuse me.
Yeah, we told them that she was going to lose too. What a shock. We're going to keep being right.
I was there on the ground telling Hillary Clinton's campaign, hey, are you guys going to do any voter IDs? Are you going to actually go and persuade people over the course of the summer with volunteers? And you know what they said to me? In one of 3 Obama-Trump counties now after the campaign, that's what we found out the result of their campaign was. You know what they told me? No! We're not going to do that. We're not going to talk to voters. We're not going to persuade people. We know better. We have math. We have a model.
Mike, I don't think you know exactly what we're disagreeing on here. Like, I agree with all this. I don't think Biden can win, but I still am against the accelerationist argument for a number of reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I understand.
Yeah, I'm just saying the harm reduction of having a Joe Biden presidency over a Trump, another 4 years of Trump, is enough to get me to vote for him.
Okay. I don't think, in aggregate, my voice and vote is going to be decisive. So when I say I think Joe Biden is going to lose, I think Joe Biden is going to result in catastrophe.
Likely.
People extracting the idea that I'm going to vote for him blue no matter who doesn't matter. I'm just explaining to people what I think is likely to happen. Maybe I'm being overly pessimistic here, but
yeah, it's probably not going to be as bad, but pretty bad.
Projections, like, okay, who goes in there and maybe he appoints some slightly better people, and he gets stymied by the Republicans, and he doesn't make any big changes, and he fucking loses the House and the Senate in the midterms, if he even has the Senate.
Likely,
and
all likely.
A charismatic fascist runs against him and crushes his ass.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do what I can to avoid that. And if Joe Biden is the nominee, I mean, I already think he's gonna lose. We need to start coming up with conceptions of how outside of the Democratic Party, including, and I thought this was ridiculous in 2016, starting a new party.
I think if we do something like that, it's got to wait till after 2020.
Joe Biden sure is a worse fascist, beats him in 2024. That's assuming he even wins.
Yeah, it's assuming a lot.
Donald Trump is very much a better candidate than Joe Biden.
Yeah,
much better candidate.
Trump's already started flanking Biden on the left about trade, which is the thing that's going to win. It's going to win him the Midwest. I've been trying to explain this to people. That's going to win him the Midwest again. Michigan is going to vote Trump again over Biden because they hear, I voted for NAFTA. I helped write NAFTA. We're not going to vote for that because we know what it did. It's why we're in the position that we're in. But, you know, what I have to do is convince the people in places like Flint and Detroit that even though that is the guy who pushed for NAFTA, who voted for NAFTA, we would be, you know, we're going to be the first ones to be even worse poverty than before if Trump wins again. At least we can stave it off for 4 years. regroup, and figure something out. I'd much rather have time than no time and destruction, because we're going to be the ones sacrificed.
Well,
You know,
okay,
you got to
I
crack
think-
a couple eggs. I don't want to be that egg.
I think the difference is, I think if Donald Trump wins the presidency in 2024 or 2020, and the Dems manage to hold the House and possibly some of the Senate, I don't think that's actually gonna happen, but who knows?
Yeah, neither do I.
They'll be able. I mean, there's actually no hope because I mean Nancy Pelosi is pathetic. These people are awful. I mean,
Yeah.
Bernie was our last hope, folks. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be a doomer here, but like,
We got to find the next Bernie. We do. I totally agree.
I mean, okay, man. I have like really doomer things to say right now.
I know. Everyone's depressed.
There's a certain point where you're and maybe you don't think it's now, but where we're beyond the point of no return. Climate-wise, culturally, politically, with our structures, where there is no smooth path back.
So we take the rough pack back. You know? It's not,
What do
if
you
that's
mean
all
by
we got.
rough?
I mean, if we got to show up and get in people's faces.
We're living in denial. This is so similar to the Republican Spain prior to the Spanish Civil War. I don't even know what to say. We are in fucking denial about what's about to happen.
Look, I'm not ready to lay down and die. Is all I'm saying.
I'm not saying lay down and die. I'm gonna die.
So then let's do something. Let's get off our ass. We're not
I
done.
tried.
We're not done. We're not done. We're both older millennials. You know,
Do you guys know,
we gotta
do you
encourage
guys know-
people.
Do you guys know small arms tactics? Do you have a cadre? Do you fucking know how U-shape ambush? Or
I'm
an
not
ambush?
talking like
What's the
violent
strategy?
I'm not talking violent revolution.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go.
Yeah, come on now.
We have no violent revolution, but we're gonna be disenfranchised.
Yeah.
So, I love Call of Duty too. I've been playing a lot of it. L-shape ambush. That's the way to go.
I mean,
so what's the strategy? We just find someone else. This reminds me very similar of like the Hayek videos we watched earlier, where they're like, just trust the market, let prices work.
we coalesce. We come up with a plan. We show up to people's offices. We do this all around the country. We make our voices heard. We make it so that even the centrist liberals who voted for Joe Biden have to say, hey, they kind of have a fucking point. Because, I mean, the biggest advantage we have is right now with this virus. This works
But
in
they don't care.
Bernie's favor.
The media isn't changed. Like the
They're gonna
structures of
care.
information that
They cared now.
What?
Look at what they're proposing now. You got Adam Schiff talking about enacting UBI of all things. Like,
Yeah, they're
you can't tell me that doesn't have an
As soon
effect.
As soon as it's saved, they'll go right back. That's what's happening. You see a depression because that's
And
what we're in.
What's the rule of politics? It's a lot harder to take something away than it is to, or it's a lot.
Sure. I mean, yeah, humans have loss aversion bias.
Yeah.
Like, we won't make investments that'll return 10 times. If there's a risk, we might lose something that's small, even if the probabilities show that we should.
Yeah.
We're very bad at making the right investments.
So if people like the
Joe Biden-
UBI, how are they gonna take it away? People are gonna revolt.
They won't revolt for shit. People only revolt, and this is.
Well, I mean, they'll show up. They'll show up in their
Well,
offices.
people
You know what I
only
mean by
revolt.
revolt.
People will only revolt if they are experiencing extreme material deprivation to the point where life is intolerable.
Like getting $1,000 a month and then all of a sudden not.
Yeah, but that's not enough because they still have a credit card or a food bank or some other thing. Our society is constructed very precisely to provide the minimum level.
Do you
keep
think
people complacent?
Do you think if they just got rid of Social Security, like it was on the table to just completely get rid of tomorrow, that people wouldn't show up?
Get rid of what?
Social Security or Medicare. You don't think that people would show up?
Yeah, I think they would show. Well,
I think people would show up.
Well, yeah.
That's the same case I'm making.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the
think
same
maybe.
case I'm making.
Maybe. Do young people care?
I mean, young people, They didn't show up to vote in the first place.
They never do.
Yeah.
No one shows up to vote. It's a primary. You get like 30% turnout.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Maybe 50 or 40 to 50 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And that's registered voters, not all eligible. So you're
Yeah.
talking about like a third of the people showing up at the primary.
Yeah.
So ultimately, Joe Biden's going to be picked by like 10% of the electorate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Like we're not disagreeing on that at all. Like I just think
I think you're like 4 years of life behind me because like I've already done every one of those things that you're talking about, and the end result was Joe Biden. The end result was resistance hardening.
I'm in a different position as you. Like living in Flint, living through the water crisis. You know.
Yeah. How's that going? Did you guys get mad when your water was poisoned?
No, and I've always said that if Flint didn't revolt over the water crisis, it's not revolt.
Children are being brain damaged by neglect or actual intentional action.
Mm-hmm.
And people still aren't revolting.
But I'm here, and I want to. Not revolt, you know. I'm not going to call it a revolt because you know that has a certain like violent imagery to it, and I'm not pushing for that at all. Well, I don't think that's necessary.
There's been bloodless revolutions.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to specify that so that people will stop putting fucking the monkas in chats.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not okay. I'm trying not to be doomer, but I'm just looking at a path of electoral politics where the outcome makes sense. And
well,
I guess it's possible Joe Biden. I'm just in my mind's eye thinking, is Joe Biden going to be inaugurated president?
If he does, I'd much rather be fighting him than Trump. That's my overall point. Because at least it gives cities like Flint a fighting chance.
I mean, does it? Obama was president. He didn't. What did he send the Army Corps of Engineers? Did they replace the pipes? It wasn't that expensive.
I mean, they did replace the pipes. They're almost done.
I mean the ones that are like personal, people's like the ones that went into people's homes.
Houses? Yeah. No, that's not going on. But there's a lawsuit against the city and the state, and also the federal government that's going on that might cover that. I think. What the fuck is her name? I can't remember her name, but she's been in a lot.
Look at this shit. McConnell has a request for veteran federal judges. Please quit. Senate Majority Leader has encouraged judges thinking about stepping down to do so soon to ensure that Republicans confirm their replacements this year.
I think they think they're going to lose.
Running out of federal court vacancies to fill, Senate Republicans have been quietly making overtures to sitting Republican-nominated judges who are eligible to retire to urge them to step aside so they can be replaced while the party still holds the Senate and the White House. Can you imagine the Democrats ever doing anything this competent?
Of course not. Of course
They're
not.
running out of vacancies to fill.
Yeah. I'm wondering. I'm wondering if they think they're going to lose.
They're doing
or at least McConnell.
Competent. They're saying there's a non-zero chance that we lose. How do we maximize the permanent nature of our past victories? I wouldn't be surprised if they're telling Clarence Thomas to retire. So that Trump will get 3 Supreme Court judges in 4 years to Obama's 2 and 8.
Yep. I mean,
I think they're jumping for joy that Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. They're going to
I agree.
destroy Joe Biden.
I agree. I think Mitch McConnell's worried about losing the election, though. Or losing his election, which is a big possibility. He's incredibly unpopular.
Yeah, he is, but Trump will rescue him. He's going to win Kentucky by 70 points. Oh, I'm sorry, 50 points. No, I hear you. I mean, I'm not trying to be a doomer, but
it's been a rough week. I get
There's nothing to say, but the truth. I don't know what to tell you folks.
Hey, I'm speaking the truth too. It's just a different truth. You know, Bernie's been saying all along. It doesn't end with him. He started it. He's telling us what we need to do. We need to do what we need to do. We need to step up, and we need to either run for office ourselves. We need to get in with staff. We need to show up to their offices and show them that, you know, actually get involved. I know it sounds like a pipe dream now, but this is the message. This is what we need to do. Whether or not people do it is completely up to them. It's what we need to do. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like, you know, oh, this is what we're going to do. It's what we need to do. That's the only way we're going to get any change. We sit on our hands and we just, you know, stay doomer about everything and waiting for Bernie to bail us out, you know, as he gets older and older. That's not going to help us. It doesn't die with Bernie unless we let it die.
I think the best single thing we could do would be to move as a block out of the Democratic Party and start our own and say we're not voting for the Democrats and Joe Biden is beyond the pale and the Democratic Party is finished, just like the Whig Party. And we eat shit, sort of like the Republicans, you know, ate shit in 1856, and we come back around and we try to run our own candidate 4 years later. Because the Republicans lost in 1856, but you know what they did? They won in 1860. And then 8 years later, they'd won a civil war and abolished slavery. They had fundamentally changed what people thought was politically plausible. They did so by destroying the stupid fucking Whig Party, the useless, rotten, incompetent Whig Party that wasn't even addressing the most important issues of the day and had no connection to what people cared about. Fuck the Whig Party, fuck the Democrats. They endorsed. If Joe Biden is the result of 4 years of Trump, I don't want to be a part of the Democratic Party. And yeah, it sucks, but what would have been worse? Running another Whig in 1860 and losing to the Democratic slavers again as they expanded slavery across the country or forced it into the North? Like, what was the strategy here? Just continue to carry this party that has no Democratic. Do you know Republican Party is more popular than the Democratic Party?
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Absolutely, it's true.
You're gonna have to prove that, bud. You know I love you, but that's a bit much. I don't think that's true. I think Democratic voters don't show up.
Please tell me whether you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of each of the following political parties. Favorable Republican Party, 51%. Favorable Democratic Party, 45%. That was January 16th to January 20th, 29th, 2020.
What's the methodology of that? Like, where was that done?
This is a national poll by Gallup. They do a tracking poll of the opinion of the parties. This is the first time the Republican Party has been more popular than the Democratic Party since, of the elections during 2004. I mean, when Obama was elected, the Republican Party was like at the 30-some% popularity. Like, and they have it's a tracking poll that they've been keeping. The Republican Party is now more popular than the Democratic Party right now, according to their most recent sample. I mean,
right.
that's the Democratic Party is, after 4 years of Trump, more unpopular than the Republicans are. What more do I need to say? That's why, 4 years ago I was like, well, we got to bite the bullet and vote for Hillary. And then in the next, and if she doesn't win, then we fight to get it progressive. And then we end up with someone more conservative than her. They're incapable of learning.
Yeah, likely Tom Cotton. I get all that.
Of learning. Democrats it's too corrupt.
Yeah, I agree.
This is before the coronavirus and the crash, by the way. Yeah, okay, that's true.
We also don't get involved at all. We let them do this. There's a lot more of us than there are them.
I mean, hazard cast, that would be very anti-democratic, but sure, I mean, that's the rules. As they say, you gotta follow the rules. The rules let the delegate vote for what they want. Tom Cotton is a maniac, but...
Yeah, he's garbage.
I mean, what happened is the Democrats were so weak, they came up with a pathetic coronavirus stimulus package that they sent to the Senate, and then the Senate Republicans said, this doesn't go far enough, and now they're running to the left of the Democrats. We control the House. And they say our bill didn't go far enough.
Wait a minute, what's this about Ohio?
There was some sort of lawsuit. I don't know.
So they're not postponing the election.
You can't. I mean, at
Jesus
this point,
Christ.
At this point, I think it's well within the authority of a governor to postpone a primary.
Yeah.
During a pandemic.
Didn't Georgia already do it?
Other states did it. Every leftist I know is intensely involved in community organizing and local politics. I don't think the onus is on us. Well, I mean, the blame leftist occurs even with leftists.
I'm not blaming leftists, though. I'm just saying don't stop. We need to stop looking at this as the end. We knew this was going to be fucking hard. Who out there thought this was going to be easy? Are you serious?
No, this is the culmination of 20 years of effort that began with the fucking Jesse Jackson campaign.
Mm-hmm. And we're better now than we were then. We're closer now.
I mean,
yeah. We're closer now than we were then. How much did Jesse Jackson lose by?
I mean, Jesse Jackson won Michigan.
And general election?
No, in the primary to the dipshit Michael Dukakis, who ended up losing. He won Michigan against Dukakis in the primary. Bernie didn't win Michigan. We're actually behind. What happened?
How many other states did Jesse Jackson win? I haven't actually looked into
his run. He won
his
South
run.
Carolina. I don't know. I have to go back and look. But Bernie Sanders is not going to win shit. Going to win like 10 states maybe. Like he's gone backwards since 2016, folks. Starting a new party will take decades to build up. That's not true.
It's pretty true.
In America, in history, when parties failed, they failed quickly.
It's different landscape than previous histories.
It doesn't necessarily mean that we won't end up back in the Democratic Party, but if you look at the Progressive Party at the turn of this century.
Like who's gonna fund it?
Republican Party.
Who's gonna fund it?
Guess we gotta do grassroots fundraising.
Yeah.
Guess we gotta start our own shit. And you know what? Like it's not a good option because there's unlimited money in politics now. Thank you, Obama.
Yeah.
For being a loser and not appointing a judge when you have 330 days to get it done.
Yeah, you should have done it on a recess appointment. I agree. Honestly, I just think the thing we disagree on is what to do next.
Well, it's sort of like, I think I understand the disagreement here.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you have a cancer patient, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the oncologist says to the cancer patient, we need to take chemotherapy and do surgery, and we need to do it now. Because if you don't do it, your stage 2 cancer is going to grow into stage 4, and then it'll be too late, and I won't be able to operate because you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person goes, okay, doc, never gets the treatment, and then 2 years later or a year later comes back in, and the doctor goes, you have stage 4 cancer, it's now inoperable. Treatment you have is you have 3 months to live. The best I could do is extend your life by a month or two with palliative chemotherapy, and the patient's like, but what about the surgery? That was 2016 talk. I don't
agree with that analogy.
Okay, well, I mean, what's the climate budget? How many years left do we have to continue burning carbon at the rate that we're doing?
No, I mean, I agree with that.
Every year we increase the carbon growth rate of our emissions. It's exponential. Every year we delay is an exponentially worse starting point, which means we have to unwind at an even faster rate.
I think a better comparison is the difference between a cancer patient, like both do get the treatment, but the difference between a cancer patient who just gives up and is very negative about their outcome, like they're still getting the treatment, but they're just like, this isn't going to work, I'm going to die. Like studies have proven that person's more likely to die than a cancer patient who is staying positive throughout the process and thinking that they're going to live. Like, these things have an effect. If we just give up.
You're talking about morale. Okay, I mean,
yeah.
Sure, but like,
I'm talking about morale and continuing to organize, not giving up. We're not done.
For Biden not giving up. I mean, it's 100% surrendering. Yeah.
No, letting Trump win is giving up.
I mean, what do you mean letting Trump win? Trump's going to win because he's going to beat Biden by the merits.
Yeah, I know. Independents aren't going to show up for him, and independents decide elections, not Democrats. I know. But, you know, we got to try something. And I'd much, like I keep saying, I'd much rather fight Biden.
By the way, 1988 primary, Jesse Jackson won 13 states and 1,209 delegates by the end of the convention. So we have regressed. I mean, what are we going to end up winning, folks? Go look at the fucking projections. I could look at predicted, see what people are predicting. Hold on. On the Democratic race.
Instead of looking for the next Bernie, why don't we look for the next AOC?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states is what they're projecting Bernie to win right now. Pretty fucking... And this is true.
Yeah. I mean, no, it sucks. I agree.
Clinton, according to the betting odds, Clinton is more likely to be the Democratic nominee than Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want me to?
The presidency is not the only office we can win. We'll have to start with local elections. We'll have to start a lot smaller.
Okay,
we'll have to start with Senate.
I mean, the Senate seat, they endorsed Hickenlooper and put $1 million into making sure he beats his progressive challengers. So the Senate Democrats did.
Yeah.
Maine,
show up and vote.
In Maine, they did the same thing. They endorsed a centrist Democrat to run against Susan Collins in the primary. In Arizona, they endorsed a centrist Democrat.
Yeah.
To run against Marty McSally. Like, what I'm saying is, what candidate? What office?
We gotta find them. Find the next AOC. AOC didn't look like she was gonna happen either. That was a long shot. Ilhan Omar? Are you kidding me? A Somali refugee Muslim woman?
Well, that's because that's Keith Ellison's district, where they've built progressive movement for fucking decades.
I mean, sure.
I think Keith Ellison is probably it. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be doomer here. I'm not telling you it's hopeless. Of course, it's there's things to be hopeful for, but like,
that's just what I want to get across.
We're in bad shape with Joe Biden. We've
got
to let people know.
I completely agree, and I have been getting the message out. I have been telling people the best that I can, you know. But in the meantime, if we're going to go ahead and do a damage assessment, we know we're in a lot better shape fighting Joe Biden and winning sometimes. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Sure, I'm voting for Biden. You'll never know because you can't go in my ballot booth. But I did the thing of using my platform responsibly. Now I'm going to go back to attacking Joe Biden. Just remember, I'm voting for Joe Biden every time I attack him, and what I'm actually going to do is vote for him in the secret ballot box. Just remember that.
Don't vote Jill Stein. Please.
Oh no, don't vote for Green Party.
Yeah, they're useless. That's what I'm worried that a progressive party, if we make one, is going to be. Is just another Green Party. Because, goddamn, they're so mismanaged.
It would only work. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Probably not. Our best chance is to still get in through the Democratic Party and actually ship them to the left. That's pretty much the best shot that we've got. And we can do that through the same things that we've been doing. We just need to stop looking at Bernie Sanders as the end of it. Because he himself would tell you he's not the end of it. He's the start of it actually being viable to happen. So let's fucking make it happen. We'll find another Bernie.
I'm gonna have plenty of people. I'm gonna find plenty of great progressive candidates to help. I'm not trying to be doomer. I'm just saying that the Institutional Democratic Party is far more right wing than everybody thinks, and I'm
No, and
gonna
I
do my
agree.
best to. I'm gonna do my best to find local, viable progressive candidates to help, and make sure that you're not just doing quixotic campaigns where you waste your time. You're actually gonna go for people that have a chance, and your volunteering might make the difference. Yeah, well, it's a great stream today with all the call-ins, but I'm going to probably take off maybe a little bit later. I'll play some Call of Duty on some various streams. I don't think I'm streaming it myself, but
I wouldn't mind having this talk again, by the way, bud.
we can talk. Yeah, bring me a lot of the candidates, and we can look over them together. You know?
Yeah, I don't know how to look for them, but I'll do the best I can. I've never been very good at that. It's like I'm very local.
I'll show you how you determine whether somebody's a real candidate or not, and not just by what they say their policies are.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
We'll all talk about who's a good progressive and who's a grifter. The Democrats are fucking allergic to anything resembling effectiveness. Yes.
Agreed. Democrats like to lose.
Nah, I'm not watching the town hall today. I'm tired. I did a bonus stream yesterday, and I need to do stuff. Where are my mods? Good question.
Either way, man. I appreciate you letting me on to talk about this stuff.
Alrighty, folks. Yeah, it was good to have you around, man.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shoot you down too hard, but
no, I know. Things seem hopeless right now, and it's hard to get out of that. And yes, you've had a lot of work in that, and I mean, yeah, so have I. Like not as much as you, obviously, and I know a lot of people who are working for several of the like local politicians in Flint and in Lansing and everything, and like they're pretty doomer right now too, but
yeah,
they're not wanting to stop either.
Yeah, definitely a doomer.
Every single time you think you're ready to stop, think of how many poor people are going to be much more worse off and be sacrificed, you know, as we continue to go into laissez-faire capitalism. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. All right, folks. I'm gonna return. Mark, I hope you don't mind.
No, it's fine. I'll take off. Later, man.
Peace.
I did what I could. Oh, yeah, they're mad at me. I don't care if they're mad at me. Good job, Ace. I didn't even see that. Alright, let me catch up with chat. Will be our fault when Biden loses, regardless of whether or not we show up. Yeah, I know. I agree. like the thing, it was in Mike's chat, being proactive since you were there. I appreciate that, yeah, because I know for a fact they'd come over here. Well, they're mad that I'm trying to be optimistic and rally the troops. I'm just saying, like, we're sitting around and we're being sad, and I was pretty bummed out for a minute too. I didn't do that shit on stream because it's not helpful. Mike must be mad at me. He didn't even raid me. I don't even think he realized I was streaming. I didn't tell him. We were stuck in isolation as well. Yeah. What do you mean by rhetoric bamming? Like, I just think it's a lot better for us to concentrate on, okay, currently, things suck. I fucking get it. And I agree. Like 100%. Like, how many times did you hear me say I agree with Mike? And how many times did you hear him say things that I've said in this stream? Like, the problem is we can't just roll over and die here. I'm not ready to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't have a choice really to just continue and, you know, roll over. Flint did that already. The way it votes, the way it doesn't show up for elections, Flint's done that. And I think we need to be better than, you know, a city that's been downtrodden for years to the point where they've lost all hope in electoral politics. And we can think beyond electoral politics.